Hola, tasties and tastettes. Welcome back to another episode of FTWGT Weekly. Me llamo Lenny. Tu eres Dante.
Ooh.
I actually got it.
Spicy.
Oh, shit. And we are here for our 2023. It doesn't sound right when you say the 2000, right?
No, I usually say 20.
Yeah, it does. Like, why
Just
is
think
that?
about, like, nobody calls it 1990. They call it 1990s.
Yeah, that's a good point. Our 2023
So you just want to fuck it up.
year in review. We're going to be looking at some, I don't want to call them awards. I thought about calling them awards. I thought about calling them the tasties and not so tasty. But then it's like, well, we call our fans the tasties. So it's like, but you're award winners. So maybe we can still do that.
The scrumptious and rambunctious.
Bars. So we have some topics to look at to review the year of movies in which we saw, just so everybody's up to date. I didn't get to 40. But I want to let the people out there know I could have gotten to 40 if I had have wanted to.
If you had committed.
I had many an opportunity to get to 40, all within December, but none of it was like good enough. None of it got me out there.
I thought you had 40 locked in.
Well, I could have done like Napoleon, and then we didn't see Ferrari. Ferrari was the 40 that we talked about locking it in. I almost just got a ticket to see Migration or whatever on Friday or Saturday, and just to be like, I got to 40. And I was like, don't want to see that.
The pity watch.
Yeah, like I don't want to see it. So it's not going to happen. So we finished the year at 39 movies. We're going to work through some of these awards topics. And then we're going to look at re-ranking some of 2023's movie theater rankings. After that, we will be getting into a little bit more of a preview. Last week, we talked about the sequels and the reboots that we're getting in 2024. This week, we're going to look at the release calendar a little bit, maybe make a few predictions, tell the people what we're looking forward to seeing the most. And based on those predictions, maybe next year we'll be able to look back and be like, were we right or were we wrong? Before we get there, however, if the people out there could do us a favor, if you could subscribe to the pod if you are not subscribed yet, we would greatly appreciate that. Start of a new year, start of a new journey. We're climbing towards the top again. We reached 100 this year, trying to get to 200 next year. Let's set the goal there, right? As well, like the stream or like the pod. Share it with a friend. Sharing, as we always like to tell you, it is fucking caring, people. So, like, if you care,
tell a friend.
You should share. When you go to a 7-Eleven, there's a give a penny and there's a take a penny. Well, this is quite the same. And also hit the notifications bell somewhere in there. What
the fuck was that penny thing?
You don't know about that?
Give a penny, take a penny?
Yeah,
No.
You never seen that?
No.
I've said this on the pod before. Like many a time, you've never called me on it. There's the little tray when you walk into like a convenience store.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And
I don't know why, because like a penny's never the difference that you need.
No, I get it though. Like sometimes your total could be like, I don't know, like 4 cents over like what it is, and you don't want to break a whole dollar, so you're like, let me just grab those 4 pennies.
Yeah, very nice to pay it forward with pennies. I thought it was for scratch tickets.
Oh,
be a good idea, too. Wouldn't it?
Yeah,
that's actually what people should take it for. Do you play Keno at all?
To say I have would be correct. To say I actively play, probably not.
Yeah, I don't do it often. It is a fun little game, though.
It's like a quick gamble,
I think all bars should have Keno.
I feel like a lot do, though.
Not all, though.
No, not all.
Like J&J, for instance. Like,
wouldn't
that have been a great part to a Monday night is if we had Keno to be playing?
Let's be honest, we spent enough money there.
But
we
like
really need another way to pump it up.
Keno's cheap. There's enough TVs that you could just have a Keno TV.
True.
And it's like something that gets the bar going. It's fun.
Yeah.
The reason this came up is I think it's weird when you walk into like, have you ever been into like the convenience stores and you just see the like old person
just chilling at the little table that they have in there?
Yeah, like that's crazy to me. It's like, I need to gamble bad tonight. I'm gonna go hit up the 7-Eleven and sit at the Keno the Keno screen.
I've always looked at that like, fuck, is this what retirement looks like?
I mean, there's worse things. It's just weird to me when it's like 10 o'clock at night and the dude's still like sitting
that's
there,
wild.
There's a place in my town. I don't know if they still do this, but they had like a couch. So it was like a longer convenience store. And the front part was like your drinks, your snacks, your magazines, all that stuff. They had fresh made popcorn, which I always thought was a really cool touch. They had like a popcorn machine for 99 cents. You could go like fill
Jesus
up a
Christ.
bag.
So their sign outside could be like convenience store and lounge.
Yeah, kind of. And then, yeah, they would have a couch and they would just have a Keno screen. You could just chill and play Keno. That's how I'd want to spend my retirement. Like, I don't want to sit at a 7-Eleven in a hard plastic chair at a little counter. Like, get me a couch with a bag of popcorn, and I'll just sit there playing numbers.
Huh.
Not bad, right? All right, 2023. Let's look at that. Let's get back to it. Did you have a preference on what topic to start with? Which category to start with?
Let's see.
We have, do you want me to list some of them off for the people?
Yeah, let them know what we're going to be talking about.
So we have biggest surprises of 2023.
Yeah.
We also would have your movies that we might have been wrong about.
Yeah.
Worst performances.
Yeah.
Movies that should have gone to streaming.
Yeah.
And the top movies you should have seen in the theaters. Those are going to be the ones we're going to be getting through here. And which one do you want to start with?
I think I want to start with worst performances.
Okay. This is one you didn't have a ton for, right?
No, I actually have just one.
Okay, and we haven't shared our lists with each other at all, so I wonder if we'll have any crossover.
Probably.
What is your one? Because I have more than one. I'd like to just hear your one.
My one is the Marvels.
Okay, all right. So we do have a little bit of crossover here.
Okay.
I did not singularly write down the Marvels. I just wrote down Marvel. Fair?
That is fair, actually. That's
right?
Very fair, because aside from
Guardians, Marvel had a bad year.
Yeah.
They were terrible performers this year. They had some of the worst movies that came out. It's weird coming off the years that they've had, but yeah, like they had a bad year. You've gotten a lot of hate out for the Marvels on this. Do you have specific things that you think were the worst about this movie?
So like I didn't have high expectations for the movie, but it definitely was probably my biggest upset of the year. I just feel like it was really a messy story, a weak plot, and overall just wasn't a satisfying watch.
The actors, any of them you want to single out? Any of them you got hate for?
I don't think I really have any hate for any of the actors because, like, you know, they're just playing their role. I think my beef is more with the writers. But what was the one girl I said I liked? I forget her name now.
It's Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel. Yeah. Okay. That might have been the only thing I enjoyed about that movie.
She was the silver lining.
Yeah, definitely.
I have something I want to add to my list. It's not there now.
Okay.
It's come to mind. Brie Larson should be added into worst performances.
I should have seen that coming.
Because like she
you're
was
gonna go back to Fast 10, aren't you?
Yeah. She was okay, I suppose, in the Marvels. Like I liked actually some of her. She played well, I think, with those two other characters. Like there was like decent chemistry there.
Yeah.
But she was god awful in Fast 10. Like she was bad. She's part of another worst performance, worst scene I've seen in a movie this year. Yeah. I talked about it on here. Her and Alan Rickman in the little like fake room of TV monitor screens talking.
Where you know they're not looking at anything.
Yeah, and it's like they're just like it's the most. She's just wooden, dude. Like I don't get any emotion from any of her stuff, and maybe that's why.
I can see that actually. Yeah, okay.
Maybe that's why she works as the Captain Captain Marvel a bit in this movie is because she's supposed to be kind of the straight man.
Because she's not. Her character's not really supposed to show a ton of emotion, right?
Yeah, right. Like, and I think she was actually able to display a little bit more as the movie went on in Marvels, but especially in Fast 10, like they could have put anybody in that role. Like, there was nothing, and I don't know why she's the choice for these kinds of things because like. She doesn't have her movies I can't think of a single movie that she's done that has been like a huge success. So what is adding her to your movie gaining if she's not going to give great performances? And I just haven't seen or can't think of a performance with her that has stood out for me, especially in 2023.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Okay. I have a few more to add here. Okay.
Rattle them off.
Cool. The DC's CGI.
So, you know what's funny? You had mentioned it when we saw Aquaman, how like bad like the hair was underwater. And
The clothes, the everything. It looked
well,
like a
yeah,
video
like
game.
everything underwater, right? But like, I don't think I paid as much attention to it when we watched it, but I did end up watching that movie again.
Oh, you went and saw it again?
Yeah, it was more so just like a friend hit me up, and I was like, you know what? Haven't seen you in a while. Fuck it, let's go catch a movie.
Okay, so second thoughts. Let's spend a minute here. Okay, what are some of your follow-up thoughts to seeing it a second time, to giving those motherfuckers more money?
So first off, like now, like pay, yeah, right, giving them more money, and I did actually pay for this one too.
What? Oh, you went to a showcase?
Yeah, I went to Deluxe. I had to see what that was like.
It wasn't worth it either. Oh, let's talk
No,
about Deluxe
absolutely
too.
not.
I told
Absolutely
you
not.
it was like not. Did they bring food to you?
Yeah, I
What'd
mean,
you
I had
get?
to do that part.
Filet mignon?
No, I didn't go that crazy. I got like a margarita pizza and some chicken bites.
Were they any good?
They were actually pretty decent. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
well,
like
props to Showcase Cinema for that.
yeah, like the food wasn't bad at all. Like I actually liked the margarita pizza a lot. They had some like pesto over it too. I was like, all right, this works.
Okay, lit. All right, so the movie.
The movie, like I know one of your biggest critiques was the CGI and just how fake everything looked. And as I'm watching it this second time, I'm just like, fuck, he was spot on. Like none of this looks real. Like from the suits they're wearing that just have way too much of a glimmer to it that just look like video game art over a living person.
Yeah, just pasted onto them, yeah.
And then like their hair just didn't move in any sort of natural way to even be close to believable.
Did you notice the shirt thing I talked about?
How it looked bone dry underwater?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the second he came out of the water, he was soaking wet.
Yeah.
Isn't that fucking crazy? How's that an oversight you make?
There was also some points where they're like holding weapons and it just doesn't look like they're actually holding it. Like I think that was CGI'd in
right?
too.
Yeah, they weren't, right?
Which is like, that's crazy. Like you definitely could have made those as props, but like whatever.
No, thank you, man. I was lumping into this the babies from The Flash.
Oh yeah,
right.
That was really bad.
A lot of the CGI in The Flash looked pretty shitty as well, but the babies was the other thing that popped into my head when I was thinking about the DC CGI.
Yeah. There's a lot of CGI fails and very few CGI wins this year.
Yeah, I do agree, this was a bad year for CGI because like Fast 10, for instance, didn't have the best look either for a movie that's like pretty big budget. It's crazy to me that like maybe it's because these like companies have become so reliant on CGI that it's just we see too much of it.
We're not seeing enough practical stunts. Like CGI, especially in Fast 10, that's a great example. Like there were some points where like car crashes or like certain motions with the cars were CGI, and it was like you had a big enough budget, you couldn't just do like a crash car.
Well, exactly. Like a movie that built itself on that stunts with cars, a movie that pulled a safe behind two cars, and most of, like the car parts were real. Obviously, the safe wasn't actually getting pulled,
but they made that look good.
But that looked like legitimate. Yeah, it looked real. And yeah, this movie, that Fast 10, like had some poor CGI. I also saw, like, speaking again of Brie Larson and her part in Fast 10, when she saves Dom on the bridge in Brazil, right?
Yeah,
I saw like a outtake that they had of that. It might have been in Fast 10 like bloopers or something. I was scrolling through TikTok and came across it. And that's all green screen that they're in front of for that. And then I rewatched the movie preview to taste test. And I was like, I can't unsee this now. Like, this is all fake around them. Like, and I don't know why I didn't know that when I was watching it, that like I wouldn't just think that they showed up on a bridge.
I just think in most cases now a lot of these studios are overusing, green screen and CGI in place of practical effects.
Well, it's probably just cheaper to not have to travel to places, but it makes it stand out so much when you're actually
I get that, but
there.
it cheapens the final product.
Yeah, like exactly. Like and that's where something that doesn't really show up on any of my like lists here. You'll always get like a win for me out of the Mission Impossible franchise, just purely based off the fact that like
they do
the man's doing
effects,
it. Yeah, the man's doing a lot of that shit.
Yeah.
Okay, getting on. Along with this topic, Jason Momoa. I threw him in there for worst performances. I fucking hated him in Aquaman.
You know what? I think I can give you that because you know what? Like, he's basically just playing the same character in every movie.
Yeah. And I talked about it
So
last
he's not
week
really
on there.
acting. He's just
Yeah,
being there,
being fucking,
doing
he's
his lines.
Momoa,
Yeah.
dude. Like that's a verb that, or an adjective that I coined this year, and I stand by it. If to Momoa is to the Rock Momoa's often as well. Like they both Momoa, and it's where and maybe it's rocking. I don't know, but like it's when you need to wink at the camera to let them know that you made it funny.
Yeah.
Or let them know that you are cool.
Yeah.
That is the act of Momoaing.
My favorite, so you also coined it as rocking. My favorite instance of rocking, not this year, but in the Jumanji series, where they literally just highlight it and he has like the whole smoldering ability.
Yes. Yeah. Like that shit. Like,
yeah, it's like, no, that's written for him. Like,
so yeah, Jason Momoa in Aquaman 2 has has made the list for worst performances. I talked about this last week. I'm convinced that he didn't want to ever be Aquaman.
We talked about it. He went on and said he didn't want.
Yeah,
to be
I'm sure that there is not a chance that he like ever wanted to do that movie.
Yeah,
he just got paid good money to do it.
It was one of those things where you're like, fuck it.
The last thing, and this is a person, the last one I have on my list for worst performances of 2023 is Gerard Butler. And his performance in the movie Kandahar, where he didn't Momoa, but he did his own version of it, where it's like, I'm going to just sign up for a movie and just lazily do the same thing I do in every other film.
But there's some people that can do that and it works, right?
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. Like you have Kevin Hart in front of you, right? Like, yeah. Kevin Hart's been fucking Momoa in for years now, and like his movies are generally pretty successful.
You go to those movies because you want to see him play that character.
Yeah.
So like it's different.
So yeah, Gerard Butler. Nobody needs to see the movie Kandahar. So I saw it for you. I went through that so you didn't have to. Don't watch it; it's bad.
All right.
So let's go on to. I think it's appropriate. Let's go to biggest surprises.
Okay.
Right. Go to there next. Do you have a little bit more on your list for this one?
I'm sorry. I had to think of this stuff on the fly, and I only got one.
Jesus Christ. I have a decent amount. I'll start off with one.
Okay.
Creed 3 should have been better.
Okay. I'll give you that.
Jonathan Majors, standout performance. He was very, very good in that movie. Jonathan, fucking Michael B. Jordan, was good too, for that matter. Like, he was fine. But my issue more comes down to the third act in a lot of ways. I thought it was the biggest letdown of a fight, and maybe outside of like Rocky 5, of like the whole Rocky / Creed franchise. I think it was the biggest letdown fight of any of them. And I think the Creed franchise had kind of like mastered the way the fights could go. They were all pretty good. And this is Michael B. Jordan's first directing effort. He said he was inspired a lot by anime, and maybe because that's not a genre that I get a lot of interest in, maybe that's where I'm missing the fun in that fight. But like, it was too short. Like, they were building to this like really cool idea where it was almost like a real fight of like, he's absorbing a lot of damage, gassing him out, and he's going to be able to come back strong at the end of the fight and all this stuff. And instead we go to this weird scene. We skip to like the 11th round, and all of a sudden he's not fighting in front of a crowd anymore. He's like fighting with God in his presence or something. I don't know. Like, it was just a letdown to the third movie of that franchise, a franchise that I think had built a lot of goodwill with its fan base. And you see it in the fact that it didn't perform particularly well either from a box office standpoint.
Okay.
What was your one?
I had Next Goal Wins.
Okay. As far as like, that was just an enjoyment thing?
Yeah. So, I mean, like, that is really like part of my excitement for the Screen Unseen stuff that we've been doing, right?
I didn't know if it was biggest surprise just because you didn't know what you were seeing when you saw it.
No, it's more so biggest surprise because like that's a movie like I remember talking about it before we went to see it, and it was like, nobody cares about that, right? And it's like a movie that I probably wouldn't have otherwise been interested in or wanted to go see.
Mm-hmm.
But having gone to see it, I found myself enjoying it a lot. It was a funny movie, a great uplifting story, and I liked it.
Okay. That didn't make any of my lists, but I think that's an appropriate take. I had Indiana Jones is good. I was pleasantly surprised this year to
So
see
you expected that one to be a huge letdown.
Yeah, I mean, who didn't? And I think it's probably one of the more divisive movies from a critical standpoint this year, because I think it's a movie that either people went and really liked or they couldn't get into it at all. It's a movie that didn't do particularly well because, like, I think they just misjudged that, like, they were going to draw an audience that wasn't like 40-year-olds that were going to go and see it, that loved him 25 years ago, 30 years ago, you know? I'm probably right on the edge of like the age that was like grew up loving Indiana Jones, right? But I just found myself, I left that theater being like, that was so much better than I expected. It was a fun movie. The action didn't blow me away. That's not what I loved about it. What I loved about it was like Harrison Ford just like still had this aura to him that I just didn't expect at the age that he's at to be able to accomplish for me.
Okay.
And on top of that, like the twist at the end with like time travel and shit, like it was just like there was some fun elements to it that it ended up ranking so much higher than I expected on my year-end movies that yeah, it was a very large surprise for me.
Okay.
Next up, The Covenant. The Covenant is a movie I've talked about all year long. I saw it pretty early in 2023. A movie that I went in with no knowledge or expectations around. I kind of just saw it on a whim when I left work one day. And I've ranted about how good it was to anybody who will listen since I've seen it.
I think the problem for me is I listened to you rant about it for months before I finally saw it.
Yeah.
So by the time I saw it, it wasn't a surprise.
Yeah.
But definitely just seeing how it lived up to everything you said it would be, which is a tough one, right? Because like sometimes you get things where people overhype something too much.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time you get to see it, you're like, whatever, I guess it was fine, but like it wasn't worth all that. And this definitely didn't give me that reaction. So honorable mention on my list.
Yeah, I think it was a big move for Jake Gyllenhaal in my eyes. Like it's one of the better roles that I've seen him do. And I mean, like honestly, I was gonna say in some time, but at the end of the day, like Jake Gyllenhaal might be an underrated actor. Like and that might be weird to say because I think people generally like him. But like his role as Mysterio, I think was really, really good in Spider-Man.
Okay.
I go back to Southpaw.
Okay.
Like being another really good one. Nightcrawler.
Dude, Ambulance.
Ambulance was good. Yeah, Ambulance he was really good in. He had that other one where he worked for like he was a 911 operator.
Huh.
And had to like help somebody over the phone. Basically. Like that one was really good. He's a great actor, and I shouldn't be surprised by that. But I think the other thing that surprised it, and like biggest disappointments, I had Kandahar and I had Butler. The thing I appreciated the most about The Covenant is Jake Gyllenhaal's a star of the movie and didn't make the movie about himself.
Yeah,
they're similar movies, but Jake Gyllenhaal was not the star of that movie from a performance standpoint. It was the translator, right? And I appreciated that he took a back seat in a majority of that movie while he's not even talking. Like he's just getting carried lifelessly through a good portion of that movie. And he had his moments, don't get me wrong, like the last act is very much him. But the translator I think might have been the biggest surprise. And like I loved that guy. He was great.
Yeah, but I mean like I get what you're saying, like his ability to not try and hog the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Next up, animated movies exceeded expectations this year.
Oh, you didn't give me that one.
Well, what do you mean? That's a surprise.
Oh.
I think that we went into the year with Mario being trashed on. Little expectation for it. And I think generally people left very positive on it. And obviously it made a fuck ton of money.
Yeah.
Like it was highly successful. I would say the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mayhem movie. Another one that like people didn't go in. I don't think that like people went in with low expectations because I think this all comes back to like Spider-Verse has set up a franchise like that to be able to do this. But I think it ended up being better than a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles properties that we've gotten, especially in the theater. Maybe ever, since the originals at least.
Okay.
So I think, and then obviously like it was a surprise to nobody, but Spider-Verse was highly successful and critically acclaimed. Like that one's not really a surprise, but I think as a whole, in the top 10 of movies that came out this year from a financial standpoint, all of these animated movies did it, right?
I mean, we also talked about like the financial ability and the staying power of like the kids movies and family movies.
Yeah, and we're
kind
not
of
even
falls
getting
into
into like, I'm not including into this because I didn't have much of an interest this year, but you know, I Pixar I don't think had as good of a year. And maybe that's a surprise in itself that like the age of Pixar has maybe fallen off a little bit. The Weekly Planet talked about with Mario and TMNT that like a lot of it comes from like their properties that haven't been like diluted yet.
Yeah.
To a point, like TMNT has gotten a lot of stuff out there in the world, whether it's TV series or movies, and they've been around for a long time.
But they haven't put out anything that's been a huge disappoint yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think people love the Michael Bay movies that much.
Okay, yeah, actually, I forgot about those.
But it is a property that, like, especially from the animated standpoint in the theaters, hasn't gotten a lot of love, right? And then Mario hasn't been touched in a movie theater presence since the 90s. You know,
Fair.
so there are properties that like hadn't had a lot. And you could say the same for Barbie. That's not on my list of biggest surprises, but a property that just hadn't been taken and done anything with on this level. And that's why you got kind of a fresh concept and a fresh idea, and it worked the way that it did. You know, so yeah, that animated movies making a big splash in 2023 was a surprise to me. Okay. The last one I had is coming off of the biggest disappointments. Jason Momoa and Fast X.
Actually, fuck, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Shockingly good.
Yeah.
Best he's ever done in a movie to me.
He was definitely the bright spot of that entire movie.
That is a movie where he popped on screen. It wasn't like a groan and a cringe from me. It was like, wow, this is actually kind of fucking good. Like, he's kind of funny, and this energy and this aura is actually like translating very well. Like
it was one of the examples where Momoing worked.
Do you think he Momoa'd as much in that movie? Like, there wasn't a lot of wink at the camera, but there was definitely a lot of like, he chewed up scenery. Like he stole like all the scenes that he was in. And I think some of it works playing opposite Vin Diesel.
Yeah, I can see that. But I also think like just that same like goofy nature I saw present in Aquaman. Like, I just feel like that's just who he is. And he was more so just being himself on screen. He wasn't playing a character.
Yeah. And then maybe it just worked in that environment better.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see him. I'm like, you know, I'm excited to see where Fast 10 takes it.
Yeah.
Or Fast 11 goes, like with the return of him in that character. And if we can continue with that, because it would build a lot of goodwill for me if we got another great Momoa performance.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to movies that we might have been wrong about. Do you have anything? I really didn't take much more time on this than you did. So I feel like, you know, it's just I saw more movies. I think that
but I think
helps.
your recall works way better than mine too, so I just find myself drawing a blank when trying to recall these lists.
Yeah. Did you have any that you were wrong about that maybe like I'm trying to think. Like, you already went back to the well on not liking the Marvels, so I can't bring that up.
I have one that I think you were wrong about.
Okay, hit me. That's interesting.
You trashed Blue Beetle.
You saw it?
Yeah.
Okay. Hit me. What was I wrong about?
I like the movie, but I think it's also a difference in watching it at home versus watching it in the theater. Like, I think watching it at home, you can kind of be a little bit more lax and you don't have to expect as much from it. I'm not relying so much on like the big boom in the movie theater and, you know, this huge heartwarming story, but I think it was a fun watch. And if it was, spoiler to our next list, if it was something that went straight to streaming, it probably would have been more enjoyable.
Okay. I don't hate that movie. Like, I think it could have been better. I'll say that. Like,
I could see that, but I mean, I think part of it too is like I really like the lead there. Like, I watched the Cobra Kai series, you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed his character. You were very right about George Lopez being a very good bright spot in that movie.
Yeah, he's very funny. I didn't think the action was great. I didn't think that the villain. I just think it lacks any real originality.
Okay.
Like it feels like a movie that we've seen so many times now with like superhero movies. No, like
it's definitely like a cookie cutter superhero formula, but I think it was fine.
So I think that might be where a decent amount of my gripe comes from, is lacking any true originality to it.
Yeah, but outside of that, I think it was a fine movie. I mean, probably DC's biggest success in a while.
So, you know what's funny, Dante? You know what I had for movies we might be wrong about?
What?
Blue Beetle.
Oh, really?
I had it written down.
Okay. I didn't see that coming.
I did have it written down. And to be fair to you, I think it's like I think that, revisionist history, and as we get to the rankings, it's just, we had a lot of bad superhero movies this year.
No, I'll give you that. But like, I watched it, and I think coming off of your review, like, it was something I expected to be meh about, you know what I mean? And again, maybe like, how your expectations sway the overall enjoyment of the movie. I think because I had lower expectations, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think I'm still pretty meh about it, but it was better. I think it's better than I'm giving it credit for. And I think that I might have been on one that week, and I've seen just a lot of, like, there was bad shit I watched this year, and I don't know that was as bad as I gave it credit for.
And maybe you just wanted to be on the contrary on the fake hype that I gave it.
Well, I think that also, you're saying like you went in with lowered expectations. You literally compared it to Black Panther.
I mean, dude, come on. Obviously, I was just joking around
to
strike a conversation.
Yeah. The one other movie I had on movies I might have been wrong about was Talk to Me.
Okay.
Horror movie.
Yep.
I just can't figure out how I came away with being so like unamused by it, or like lack of like in love with it.
Did you watch it again? Because I remember you trashing that movie.
No, I have not watched it again. I just think I might have. I just think that like everybody seems to really, really like that movie, and I feel like it might be just something that I'm going against
so now you're
the grain.
Seeing, like, reviews on it, and you're like, huh, really?
And like, I just think like both of these movies are something I need to watch again.
Okay, is
more where I'm coming from, and then I might have a different opinion, because like Talk to Me might have been better than I remember it being. I think those are the only two that really stood out to me.
Okay,
as ones to look at. Okay, so top movies that you should see in theaters. I had a larger thought that came away with this that I'll get to, but I want to just list off the movies really quickly.
Okay.
So we had two of the. I think we have one that's the same at least. Well,
absolutely.
Right.
We both have -1. Yeah.
Yeah. Godzilla -1 is the epitome of like, you need to have seen it in Atmos or
like that. That's Dolby, probably the one. Like, if I could pick one movie where I say like, this is what is the epitome of a movie going experience, it's like that. Going to the theater and getting the full effect, it's 100% that movie.
Yeah, I think that is a non-negotiable, like it made the list no matter what, right? I had another one on here, and I think we might have the same one, and I'd be interested. What's the other one that you had on your list? Because you only had two.
I have three.
You have three, okay.
Yeah.
What was, originally you only had two.
Originally I only had two,
So what was the second one that you had on the list? Because I know Godzilla was the other one.
Mission Impossible.
Okay. Here's the thing about it. I didn't write it down. I think that one kind of goes without saying to a point. The same way that Guardians went without saying. Because like the only other thing we have left is movies that should go direct to streaming. And like there's no way that Mission Impossible or Guardians should go to streaming. So I think that those were a guarantee that they should be there. And I didn't even write them down for that reason. Because like I just didn't feel like I needed to tell somebody that those are movie theater movies.
Fair.
But I 100% wholeheartedly agree. I would go as far as to say maybe John Wick being included in that similar pantheon, right?
I'll give you that.
What did you have for number 3 then?
Die Hard. Did you have that as well?
No, because I can't put that there because I've seen it too many times. But I will give you that that was a movie in the movie theaters for 2023 for you.
Yes, it was.
Okay, I appreciate that you put that on the list. I love that movie had that type of impact on you too. That you enjoyed it at that level. So that's awesome. I love that.
I just think it was a very fun. It was one of those things where it's obviously an older movie. And I was like, I don't know if the resolution's going to be a big issue, but no, it was still a very fun watch in the theater.
Cool. I think my third one will surprise you.
Okay.
Gran Turismo.
Oh.
I think that if you don't see that movie in the movie theater, it does not resonate the same way it did for me.
I could see that, because then it just probably feels like a cheap Netflix movie.
Yeah. Like, I think the sound and all of that in that movie drew me in a lot more to the, like, that movie exceeded my expectations because of the presentation.
That's one where it probably shines on the audio experience. Just, hearing the engines roaring during the race scenes that we got and kind of pulling you in.
Yeah, I think that that's a movie that I went in very low on, and I came away and it's ranked a lot higher on my list than I would have anticipated it to be. And yeah, I think that's the other one that I have written down.
Okay. So
movies that should have gone to streaming or would have been better on streaming. Do you have anything?
So I talked about when we said movies to be wrong about, I said Blue Beetle was on there. And that's mostly because I watched it at home, and I think it was probably a movie that would be more enjoyable at home than it was in theaters.
Yeah, temper your expectations. It would be a above average streaming movie.
Yeah. I also have Thanksgiving.
Okay. I can agree with that.
It was fun to watch in the theater, I guess, but it's also something you don't really need to go to the theater for. And I don't even know that they came away with a ton of money having it in the theater. I think it probably would have got a lot more viewership if it was like, one of those like top 10 movies this week on Netflix or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I have a kind of along the same lines. A movie that I fucking hated.
Which one?
65.
Okay.
I think 65, if that movie goes to Netflix or HBO or Paramount or any of those streaming services and just gets launched on there exclusively, that movie for me comes away being like significantly better because I just think it worked better as a streaming movie. Like there was nothing overly impressive about it from a theater standpoint. And like I didn't like anything really about it. I thought it was largely boring and like whatever, But I think that if I had have watched it at home, I would have greatly enjoyed it. Or not greatly enjoyed it, but I think I would have enjoyed it significantly more than having gone and made a trip to the movies for it. The only other thing I wrote was anything that Gerard Butler does that's not Olympus Has Fallen. That motherfucker should stick to the small screen. You should just watch his shit at home.
I mean, I feel the same about Liam Neeson, honestly.
Yeah, okay, there's another one. Like he had a movie come out this year, I'm pretty sure, and I don't think anybody saw it. Yeah, so I think you're right. Like there are some actors at this point that you do not need to go to the theater to see it, and I think Gerard Butler has graduated to the class of don't put your shit in the movie theater, and I will feel so much better about it. Because Kandahar would have probably been fine if I didn't go to the theater to see it. I would have just been like, oh, it's just another Gerard Butler movie. It's whatever. But I went to the fucking movies. I took time out of my day, and you wasted it. Like,
well, the thing about going to the movie theater is it traps your attention. Like, you have 100% of my attention right now, and if you don't do anything with it, we got a problem.
Well, that's a good point to gauge of like, if I go to a movie by myself and my phone just sits in my hand the whole time because your trash ass movie's not keeping my attention, there's a fucking problem. And I'm pretty sure 65 and Kandahar both did that to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think both of those would have been perfectly acceptable streaming movies. Here's the larger overseeing thought that I have, or like to look at both of these lists, movie theater list and straight to streaming list. I'm getting worried Steve's right.
Oh?
I saw 39 movies this year.
Okay. In the theater?
In the theater. 40 if you include Die Hard.
Ooh.
41 if you include that movie that screen unseen that didn't happen.
Well, then you didn't see it, so no, we can't include it.
All right, well, 40 if you include Die Hard. There's 10 of them at most that were actual theater quality, like, needed to see in theater movies.
Yeah, and that's you being generous.
Yeah. And it's not to say like okay, like the worst movie of the year, Expendables 4. Expendables. That movie can't go to streaming directly, right? Like it just probably can't do that. but it's not worthy of you going and spending your money or your time in a theater to see it.
Yeah.
And I look at a lot of this list, and it's either superhero movies that didn't fit the bill, right? It's horror or comedy movies that don't need to be seen in the theater. You could watch them at home. And it's really reserved for the top 10 of my list that like were movies, and even that, Iron Claw, Hunger Games, like those are movies that I don't know that you need to see in the theater. I did miss one movie theater movie.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I didn't say The Creator.
Okay.
That is probably outside of Godzilla -1, the other one on this list of my movies that you not seeing it in a theater, I think you're going to miss something. Damn. And I think the biggest feather in the cap of The Creator is it did it on like a $70 million budget. Like a super affordable budget, and it looked phenomenal, visually stunning, great audio. Like, so that is one I missed. I wanted to impress you with Gran Turismo, and I skipped it on my list.
Damn.
So the Creator 100% should have been.
I feel like I played myself that I didn't get to see that in the theater.
Yeah, I think anybody who's into that genre or into going to the theaters that didn't go and take the time to see that movie in the theater is going to miss something in the experience when they watch it at home.
So I need you to finish your theater room so I can experience that correctly.
Yeah, it'll be there. It'll be there. I promise. So yeah, that's my biggest thing is that like, I don't think movie theaters are dying because there is a financial element from the movies such as Barbie, such as Super Mario, like that these movies made a ton of money by going to the theater, right?
To say they're dying is definitely a stretch. I think they're just making a slow return.
One I'm interested that you didn't add on there is where do you fall on Oppenheimer?
I don't think that needed to be in the theaters.
Okay, so like, this is my question. So from an artistic standpoint, right, there was nothing really awing about that movie. But you did say part of going to the movies is that you're drawn a lot further into the story that you're watching. And do you think you would be drawn into the story the same way, seeing Oppenheimer at home versus seeing it in the theater?
That is a fair point. No.
So that should probably be a movie that was viewed in the movie theater, right?
Not because it was anything spectacular to have seen in the movie theater,
but it's captivating.
It's like what I said. Yeah, watching a movie in the movie theater traps your attention.
Because I'd say The Iron Claw is another one to where like that movie ends up being far more captivating seeing it in the theater than it would be just sitting at home and watching it.
Yeah, too many distractions at home.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think the movie theater's dying. But it did worry me a little bit while I was making this list that I was like, damn, like a lot of these movies this year were not of the standard that I think the movie theater should call for. And I think that maybe that's the thing that needs to come back in the movie theaters. And you got it for a while with like the first phase of Marvel. You still get it with movies like -1 and The Creator. This year upcoming, we'll get into it. Like I think a Dune 2 has a good opportunity to do this, yeah. Right? That like, there should be a prestige level to your movie being the Friday release that everybody wants to see, and you go in and it offers this experience that you can't get from your TV and your soundbar in your house.
Fair.
Right? That is Bailey's first appearance in the show. We made it 45 minutes. This is fantastic. That is good job, B. Good job. Okay. So that is our lists, our topics, all of that. Let's get into re-ranking some of 2023 here, shall we?
All right.
I'm seeing if she wants to leave. Bear with us, people. She's going back to bed? Nope, she's going back to the door. We need to, here's a new added on to the pod, Dante, maybe for 2024. We get a Bailey cam.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just so like people understand
what we're going through.
Yeah, you're gonna have to let her out.
I couldn't tell if she was actually trying to leave.
No, that sniffing at the door is like there's something out there I need to figure out. So if you could pull up my list.
Yeah.
For yourself. I just drank a sip of soda down the wrong tube.
You need a second to cough it out?
No, it's not a cough. You ever have it where it like, pause, it stretches you out a little bit?
Whoa. Pause.
Yeah.
It's like it's stuck in your chest, though, right?
Yeah, it hurts. Yeah. That's what went on there. Okay. So if you could, and I'm sure you're already going to do this behind me so that people have a look at the list, they'll be able to see what we're looking at here, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you ever just pull up the list on the computer, dude? Like, I feel like it would look
I don't know
nice
why I
somewhere.
pulled it up on my phone.
Yeah, like just go to Letterboxd and...
I know how to pull it up.
So, the thing we talked about last week was, is there, as far as the list is concerned, what takes precedent? Is it enjoyment on a personal end, or is it critical review of the movie?
And this is kind of the dilemma we've had pretty much all year. I think as far as the ranking of it, that has to probably be on a more critical level. But then you can use enjoyment to, favor one over the other on the same ranking.
Yeah, but I think you almost have to have weights to it,
Yeah.
right? Like, is it 60% personal enjoyment and then 40% critical eye? You know, is there other things other variables that we're missing in placing these movies? So some that I wanted to look at. I think Indiana Jones is one that could move.
Okay.
Possibly. Iron Claw, we talked about last week, being a more interesting aspect of this list. I look at, some of the stuff further down on the list. I keep coming back to Shazam. Is Shazam too low?
Is that because I keep shouting about it?
Maybe that's another one where I might have been wrong on it, Like, maybe that's, I think that, like, you keep telling me it's better than these other movies. And I think I like it more than The Flash, but I think some of the things that bothered me, and it's been so long since I saw Shazam.
Yeah.
But like the fact that like we got the Gal Gadot cameo, for instance.
Horrible. Yeah. No, I
like
give you that.
She's not even in the scene with him. Like, like she's just...
I can get having upsets about the movie, but like at the same time, like that's a very, very small part of the movie.
Even like the character not really growing movie over movie from a critical standpoint. I think that's where most of my gaps with Shazam come from, because I do think when I saw it in the theater, I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it probably more than The Flash when I saw it in the theater.
100%.
So that's where I'm like, I think that probably needs to get flip-flopped, right?
Because what I would probably equate it to is it's pretty similar a movie style to Blue Beetle.
Okay.
And you have them ranked pretty close, which is crazy, but
well, and I think Blue Beetle probably, like this is where I came back to like the Blue Beetle. Maybe I was wrong about that. Is like, should both of those, do you think both of those should move up and knock The Flash down?
I think they should knock The Flash down. I also think Marvel's needs to be flipped down.
But if you remember correctly, dude, I didn't leave the Marvels upset the way that you guys did.
I still don't know why. Like,
I for the most part, like, I thought that, like, to your point, Miss Marvel was really good. I thought the chemistry between the three leads was pretty solid. The villain was not, like, super memorable, but okay. And then I like the, like, the cameo stuff at the end was good, too. So, I don't know. Because then it's like, yeah, why, like... Should Aquaman, like, I think this, okay, that's where we'll make the most movement right now.
All right, so we're focusing on superhero movies right now.
Yeah, okay. So, I'm going to move Shazam up in front of The Flash. Okay? I'm going to move Blue Beetle up in front of The Flash. Does it show me changing them in real time? No.
That'd be sick. Probably have to refresh.
I haven't saved it yet, actually, so that would make sense. I kind of want to leave the Marvels where it is, but then I don't like that I just have 5 superhero movies all in a row.
Give me a second before you save that, by the way.
Oh, because you want to get the
screen grab, yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. Wouldn't you have it from last week?
I don't think I took it last week. Why does this keep popping up?
You didn't take it when I was ranking the 3 movies that we saw last week?
Oh, yeah, I did. Oh, but I didn't take a full screenshot. I just took screenshots of those sections.
Okay. Well, I'll just keep working through moving the list around.
I got you.
I think of all the superhero movies, like Ant-Man, pretty right on. Should be towards the bottom of the list.
Okay. That's one I didn't see, so I can't weigh in on it.
But so The Flash would be, outside of Ant-Man, the worst superhero movie of the year. I think that makes sense to me. And then Blue Beetle, then Shazam, Marvel's Aquaman. Am I overranking Aquaman? It's a lot harder of a conversation than it should be.
I think you're ranking it appropriately across the superhero movies, but now it's like a question of what else are you putting it in front of?
I think it's accurate in terms of what it's in front of. Like Saw 10 was mediocre.
Excuse us.
I actually don't have a problem with the superhero movie, the non-superhero movies that it's in front of. Saw 10, Creed 3, Talk to Me, Kandahar, 65, Expendables.
I hate that you say it that way.
That's what it's titled.
Yeah.
It's literally what it's titled. I don't know how else they expected me to say it. But yeah, I don't have any issue with that stuff. So I do think it comes down to kind of all those superhero movies were all very similarly mid. Like none of them were above average or like anything like that, outside of Guardians, which is far further up on the list. But all these movies feel very similar in terms of quality, and their misses are all kind of the same misses. They didn't look as good as they could have. The humor didn't hit the way it maybe should have. There was no standout, truly great performances. And that's where I think the Marvels and Aquaman actually has, individually, as far as performances are concerned, some of the better performances.
You're going to say Patrick Wilson.
And the girl who plays Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Those parts stand out more than anything in these other movies. Like, there's nothing in The Flash. Maybe Supergirl is pretty good in The Flash. Keaton is pretty great, but like he's fairly contained in that movie,
Yeah.
Shazam, I don't think any of them. I think one of the bigger gripes with Shazam is that like the core cast was not all that impressive to me. Like,
I'll give you that.
I didn't think they were great. So yeah, I think I'll leave that there, like that. So the superhero movies will stay as they are. Hope I just moved something by accident. Okay. Thanksgiving. Should that move down?
You do have it. Yeah, it's almost in the middle.
I kind of want to move Anyone But You in front of it.
Okay. Think about them from a comedy standpoint.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
it's
you're
tough
right.
for me to compare there because I haven't watched Anyone But You.
Yeah, and it's tough because I think the thing that's making me want to move Anyone But You up is more the love for the genre and the style of movie it is, with good performances to boot.
Yeah.
Mixed into that. Thanksgiving, though, like, I think we came away with that exceeding our expectations.
Oh, 100%. Like,
right?
It, like, you've said it many times before, like, a movie that knows it's bad and leans into it can do fine.
Yeah, like that. And yeah, it was fairly funny. And then I was very impressed with it. Like, we talk about practical effects.
Yeah.
Like, a large amount of that movie is practical effects. So I'll leave it. I'll leave it. I'm not going to touch Spider-Verse. I know people are going to want me to touch Spider-Verse, but like, I'm going to leave it. So let's look at the top 10/11 because Iron Claw is the last conversation really here. And maybe moving around a little bit of the top. Because Covenant and the Creator are interesting to me as far as where I have them.
From a critical standpoint, does Meg 2 actually deserve to be that high? And again, I haven't seen it, so.
From a critical standpoint, no. But dude, I had a lot of fucking fun with that movie. I know people don't like it, but like, I liked that like Statham did like he was a little bit more his action star self with some hand-to-hand comment and combat, and like he was doing more of that. I think it gets a little messy maybe towards the end, but like I think that did what it was supposed to do as far as a movie theater movie is concerned. So I feel fairly comfortable having it there. My thing with the Indiana Jones thing is I would almost move Indiana Jones down behind the Meg.
Oh.
But the thing that pushed it in front initially was that Harrison Ford aspect.
Okay.
But then it's like the Iron Claw is probably better. The Iron Claw should probably move up in front of those movies.
I guess.
I think
we gotta separate the ranking into categories, right? So like, if we look at it based on how well did it do on the plot, how well did it do on their individual performances, how well did it do just in your overall enjoyment?
I think the tough thing with the Iron Claw is like you don't leave happy. You know?
No.
I think that's the hardest part with ranking it is. It's like I know how fucking good it was, but I didn't leave happy. Like. You know, but like, yeah, I think I'm gonna move Iron Claw up to 8.
Okay.
And shift the other ones down, and leave it kind of there. So then we get up to, I think Hunger Games is pretty perfect where I have it.
Yeah.
But do I move Covenant and Creator in front of Mission Impossible and John Wick?
I haven't seen The Creator, so I can't weigh in on that.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
the
it's pretty fucking phenomenal.
The Covenant as your second best movie of the year.
Is Mission Impossible the second best movie of this year? If you're gonna have it put in that like that, and if you're gonna take that angle,
fuck yeah, okay, give you that.
You know, like. I think that's where it comes from. That I would even move Guardians maybe in.
They're two very different movies. Is the tough part, but yeah, I think I agree with putting Covenant against or above Mission Impossible. I also feel like Guardians should be ahead of John Wick now.
Yeah, that's what I was just kind of thinking too. So I'm gonna refresh, and you go ahead and
all right. Let's take a gander here. Actually, yeah, okay. So the one I was surprised about here was you putting Guardians ahead of Mission Impossible.
But so I sat there and thought about it, and it's like Mission Impossible did not make me feel like I've said this about Guardians. I think the thing I appreciate most about Guardians is Guardians was able to hit on so many different emotional standpoints.
Yeah.
The great action.
It was a more complete movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas like John Wick and Mission Impossible, they're very satisfying action.
They don't have many layers.
They don't give you much more outside of that, yeah.
Yeah. Where I would even go as far as to say, like, Hunger Games has more layers to it, but not as much action. And that's where I think I leave it where it is. Where, like, Hunger Games is far more dramatic.
Hunger Games just had, like, a really good, like, way of pacing the character development.
Yeah. So, just so the people, I mean, you're going to see it behind me anyways, but Godzilla -1 stays at 1. I think it was the most impressive movie I saw this year.
That's undisputed.
You know, and then I moved The Covenant to 2. I moved Creator to 3. Guardians is at 4 now. Mission Impossible is at 5. John Wick is at 6. And that's where the biggest changes happened.
Yeah.
Overall. The rest of the stuff we'll show you, but it's like, you know, like some of it moved maybe 1 or 2. Like we talked about, Iron Claw bumped up. I'm comfortable with everything else basically being where it's at on the list, unless there's anything that stands out to you that should maybe move. I know you talked about next goal wins. Should that be in a different spot, you think, or?
It's a tough one because it's like, it's another thing where like it was an enjoyable movie, but was it really anything like groundbreaking or phenomenal where it needs to really move up?
Yeah.
I think it's fair in the middle of the pack. You know, because you got to look at what the objective of these movies are, right? Like Next Goal Wins, their objective was to tell an uplifting story and make you laugh along the way, and I think they succeeded on that. But then like the movies you have above it, like I think they probably struck out their objective a lot better. So I think I'd leave it where it's at.
Yeah, I mean, because like I'm comfortable like Strays and The Blackening should be kind of right next to each other.
Yeah,
I don't think they need to go any higher, right? Because they're kind of one-trick ponies. They're very funny.
Yeah,
movies, but they don't have much more to them than that. Gran Turismo,
when you look at the objective of the movie, like they carried that out.
Yeah, it accomplished what it needed to accomplish, and I think that's where 3 stars is like a fair spot for those to be at. the animated movies, I think all should just kind of be in the same area with each other. I think it's up to interpretation. I'm sure a majority of people would have Spider-Verse in front of the other two. I just fucking,
absolutely not.
I fucking hated the ending of that movie. So I
Even
can't
if we
do
got
it.
a more complete movie, I still feel like I have to keep Mario up there.
Yeah. And you saw Teenage?
I did not.
Okay.
So,
All right.
big revision of 2024. Dante needs to see more movies.
Speaking of 2024, Dante, since we've kind of reworked the list here, let's get into our 2024 preview. We already did some of it last week. Let's just touch on a few more things. So let's look at like the release schedule that we have going on. We'll make a couple quick predictions. I haven't actually written any of this stuff down, so we're going to be making this stuff on the fly. I did look a little bit at some movies that I'm interested in seeing. My first takeaway, though, is it's going to be a shitty start to the year. There's not, to me, much to look forward till about March or April.
Not excited for Mean Girls?
No, I mean, I'm looking at what I'm going to watch, right? And I think the first movie of 2024 for me is Night Swim that I'll probably see in the theater.
Okay.
Book of Clarence, I don't really understand it, so I don't think I'll end up seeing it. Mean Girls, I don't know, man. Like, I really enjoy the first Mean Girls, but like,
I just feel like this is going to be a disappointment. But it's almost like I want to watch it just to see if it disappoints me.
I also just don't know anything about it. Like, I don't know where it lines up. Is it a complete reboot? Is it some kind of a sequel? Like, I don't really understand it.
I do know from the trailer that they have a Regina George that's not our original actress. So, like, I feel like it's just a retelling.
So, why are we rebooting Mean Girls? What is there to gain from rebooting Mean Girls? And maybe they'll prove me wrong.
I mean,
but like, like, is that a movie that you couldn't show somebody who is 17 now, and like that movie's the original doesn't still kind of work?
I mean, but reboots have been happening forever. Like,
yes,
you
but
know
like,
what I mean? Like,
I think you should be rebooting movies that you can make look better, or that you can like, or like iconic characters that you want to bring back to the screen. And I don't think that it hits either one
should
of
be
those.
an improvement.
Like I said, I just think that like that movie came out in 2004 or something, like the original Mean Girls, and I don't think that there's anything. It was as good as it could have been at the time. The Eamon Girls.
Don't look at my spelling, but yeah, you're right. 2004.
I just, aside from like the slang that they use, like fetch and stuff like that in the original, like updating some of the terminology in that type of thing, what is going to change from this movie to the one previous? Maybe it's more social media integration into how it affects like people.
Maybe, yeah.
Right? Like, but yeah, so major takeaway, like there's not a lot in these first few weeks of 2024 that I think stand out. I think you have an early nominee for worst movie of the year in February.
Oh, what? Blood and Honey 2?
No. Madam Web.
Yeah.
I think that could end up being one of the worst movies of the year.
Yeah, I'm not expecting much from that one. For February, though, I am looking forward to Argyle, another Apple Studios movie.
I don't know. It's from the like of like the Kingsman and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It looks fine. I think I'll see it, and I think for a while it's going to probably rank fairly highly because I'm sure the performances are going to be good, the action's going to be decent, and I think there'll be some good horror, like on a horror humor. However, it's not something that's gotten me excited to see.
Okay. I guess I'm not overly excited, but I am. It's definitely something I am gonna go see.
Okay. And what else do we got?
In March we have A Quiet Place Day 1, Dune Part 2, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse.
I don't think that's coming out in 20. Double check on that.
On
Spider-Verse, the Spider-Verse movie.
This might be an old list. Sorry.
I just don't think that is coming out that quickly. I feel like it's later than that.
No longer has an official release date after being indefinitely delayed.
Yeah, so there we go.
Okay.
Because I think that would give me make me a little bit more forgiving to the end of the previous movie
If we got the follow up right next year.
Yeah, like like not even just like not like November or December. Like you're hitting me in March with like the follow up to that movie.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, like the same. Like I'm sure people feel the same way about Fast, right?
Yeah.
Like
we're not getting that until 2025.
Yeah,
right?
if we weren't waiting 2 years to get the follow up to a movie that you leave on that kind of a cliffhanger, like I think that people would look at it a bit more fondly. A Quiet Place is the other one. That's a prequel, I think.
Quiet Place Day One.
Yeah. It's just like a spinoff kind of. Dune, again, I think Dune is going to end up being one of the biggest movies of the year.
I still got to see part one. I
Me
tried
too.
to watch it at home, but it was just one of those things where I couldn't get it to grasp my attention.
Yeah.
And that just goes back to like, if I had watched it in theaters, maybe I would have been more captivated, but I'll give it another shot.
I'd be interested if they did a double feature.
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
Dune 1 into Dune 2.
It'll be a lot of time to dedicate.
I understand. You know, it'd be a day off type of thing. But I do think that that's a movie theater movie, and like me, the same as you, I didn't see it when it was in the theaters. It didn't like get me to go see it. But you know, I think coming off of Wonka, Chalamet has a little bit more of my interest to see his career now, and I don't know if it'll keep my attention seeing it in the theater, or seeing it at home rather.
By the way, Quiet Place Day One. We're supposed to get this in March, and all it has on IMDb is plot is under wraps.
Sick. Are there actors tied to it?
For our stars, we have Jimon Honsu, Alex Wolff, and Dennis O'Hare.
See, like, I think you would have already gotten a trailer if you were actually going to get that at that time. But it's still listed on IMDb, that being the release date.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry. IMDb is showing June.
So they've pushed it.
So they got pushed, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so Dune, I think, will rule the early parts of the year. As far as the movie that I think people are going to be like, that was amazing. It's going to do good revenue in the box office. Visually, I'm sure it's going to hold up. That
From
might
a
sit
revenue standpoint, I think Kung Fu Panda might also come close now.
You talk about
we've talked
diluting
about the success of like kids movies.
Yeah,
though.
but you talk about diluting properties.
What do you mean?
Like, it's the fourth movie.
True.
I don't know. I mean, and I'm not tapped into that audience, I suppose. But like, I don't know that there was this huge draw for another Kung Fu Panda movie, but I do think critically they've all done pretty well.
Yeah.
So maybe you're right. You know, no, it doesn't pique my interest, to say the least.
All right. And the other March release is Ghostbusters.
That should be good. That should be pretty good. But so we've gotten all the way to 3 months into the year, and there's probably 5 movies that seem particularly interesting, you know?
Yeah.
Like Madam Web for like a masochistic like reason, you know? Dune. And then, yeah, I think it kind of comes down to like Argyle, you mentioned, I guess, is in there too. Like, I'm going to see Night Swim as my first movie, probably just because like, but I don't think I'm interested in it, you know? It's not something I'm clamoring to see.
It's just something we like to go to the theaters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it's a movie that, like, it's a genre I'm interested in, and it's something that's going to be in the theaters early this year.
Then in April, we have Godzilla and Kong, The New Empire.
Definitely gonna see it. My expectation levels, dude, honestly,
-1 spoiled everything, huh?
It might have just fucked up the like everything monster movie related for a while for me. I'm just gonna see that and be like, this isn't -1.
I haven't heard anything about the Challengers, but that's the only other release.
That's on my list of anticipated movies.
Oh, really? What is that?
Rom-com with Zendaya. A tennis
Ooh.
rom-com with Zendaya where she's in a love triangle.
Okay.
So that one is actually one I was disappointed to see it's that late in the year, because that feels like a perfect February release to me. Like, that kind of movie should be dropping in February, right?
Yeah.
Like, early in the year with not much else coming out, I think that movie does really well. I think Zendaya is a big enough star that it's going to do well regardless, but I don't know if it fits April for me. But I am looking forward to it. So that is on my one of my most anticipated movies of the upcoming year.
Now that I have it up on IMDb, I do remember seeing the trailer.
I've seen like there's like a scene where she's in the bed with both of them. And I was like, whoa, Zendaya is getting down, girl. All right, see you.
In May we have Fall Guy.
Yeah, and that's up there. I think that I think it's getting oversaturated with trailers, and maybe it's
I'm seeing the trailer way too much. Yeah.
But I think we're in a unique situation where it's like we're at the movies 3 times
enough.
in a week, and it's before every movie we see. But yeah, I think the trailer's getting a little oversaturated to me, but it looks good.
Yeah,
and Gosling is great.
We have the Snow White movie.
Yeah. You know, whatever.
Furiosa, the Mad Max saga.
That should be amazing. That could be best. That could be best movie of the year.
Really, of the year.
I think that from a cinema standpoint, it's going to end up being great action, and I think visually and sound. I think from a movie theater standpoint, it could steal the show this year.
You expect that to rank above Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, though, which releases in the same month?
Maybe not. That's a great month, no?
Yeah, Fall Guy, Furiosa, and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Like, that sounds like 3 pretty high-ranking movies to me.
And for what it's worth, Garfield.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Another voice acting role. I will not doubt that, man. Yeah. I think he impressed so much with Mario that, like, Garfield has a new life to it.
I was going to say, also, we're talking about going back to properties that haven't been, plucked at in a while,
Yeah. I think Garfield could surprise some people with its performance in the box office just because of Chris Pratt doing so well in that Mario role. And if it ends up being funny, I could see it getting some life. That's a good month.
Yeah.
It sucks that we have to wait all the way to fucking May to get like that level of a month of movies.
But it'll be a good month.
Yeah. I'm excited for that.
June. Then we have June, Ballerina, the John Wick spinoff.
We'll see. All right. I'm not down on it, but like I'm not clamoring for it either. I don't like that it's a blank screen for its thumbnail.
Yeah.
Who is the ballerina? Do we know?
Let me pull it up on IMDb real quick. Oh, learn your keys. There we go. Ana de Armas.
She naked?
I don't know, but I'm gonna venture to say probably not.
That girl likes to get naked.
We do have Keanu in this movie, though.
I wonder how much. It's probably just like a setting up the movie type situation, handing it off. We'll wait and see. Dude, she's largely disappointing in leading roles in movies.
Okay.
So I like her. I just don't know if she's gonna get the job done. Okay.
We got Deadpool 3 in July.
Bailey, she's just yanking on the... Dude, get up. Up. Move. Thank you.
Oh, yanking on your mic.
Yeah. I was wondering what it was. Yeah, it was just her. Yeah. Cool. Deadpool 3... This one's interesting. I talked about the other day or a few weeks back. Like, it makes me a bit nervous how many cameos they're relying on, but I'd be lying to say it wasn't one of my most anticipated, most looking forward to films. Big Ryan Reynolds fan, another guy I didn't mention last year who cut a lot of his early movies in the rom-com realm, and like I really liked him in that world. The Proposal, Just Friends. Am I missing something? Those two stand out.
Pull them up.
Yeah, take a look. But yeah, another guy who largely, I think rom-coms, where a decent amount of his early movie success came from, that got people interested. And then, you look at the role he had cut out in those movies, and I think it largely translated to why Deadpool is as successful as it is. Even like a Blade Trinity back then, like he was always just that smart mouth guy that I think it really worked for.
Not seeing anything else really sticking out for
rom-coms.
No.
But yeah, a guy who had a couple of those movies that I think helped launch him into success. So yeah, Deadpool 3.
He was in a Taylor Swift music video.
Which one?
You Need to Calm Down.
No, don't know it. I mean, that's his Blake Lively's his wife, and they're best friends. So
makes sense. Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah.
all right.
So Deadpool. You think that's going to be the highest grossing movie of the year?
Highest grossing of the year.
You still got a couple more summer movies we haven't talked about, and then you're going to have the December releases, November, December releases. But I struggle to think that like
I think thus far in the list probably, but I still can't.
Dune would be the other one early in the year that I think has potential. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I think, will be really good, but I don't think it can.
Those are movies that are going to be really successful. But as far as highest grossing of the year, not sure.
It feels like Deadpool would be that at that point in the year.
So far, yeah.
Okay.
But I think my most anticipated superhero movie is probably going to be Kraven the Hunter.
I'm trying to figure out if you're serious or not. I can't tell. Because you said it super serious. But it's hard for me to understand.
No, honestly, I don't know anything about Kraven the Hunter, but it was an interesting trailer.
I think it's going to bomb.
Probably.
I agree with you. People hated on that trailer. I was like, it's not that bad. But I don't think it's going to do well. It's also weird that we've only gotten one movie that they have listed in July and August when you know that there's other movies that will be
There's
coming
definitely
out
more,
months.
but I think this list is just not trying to list everything. It's trying to list only the shit that you might care about.
Okay. Who's this list from, just to give them a shout?
Collider.
Collider, okay. Nothing in September, and we're going right to October.
Yeah.
That's scary.
We have Joker. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. It's just Joker 2.
Folie à Deux, right?
Sure, yeah. That sounds about right.
That's also the name of a Fall Out Boy album.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, this is going to be critically loved. It's probably going to make good money. I'm going to tell you I hate it. I'll just get out in front of this. Early predictions for movies that I have ranked lower than what most people think that they should be ranked. The Joker sequel.
Okay.
I wonder how much it's going to pique interest to see if they integrate it in with Robert Pattinson's Batman at all.
We'll see.
We will.
I never watched the first Joker movie, so I don't have an opinion there.
I mean, so you're going to have to probably see it.
Yeah.
And then you'll tell me if I'm wrong about how fucking much I hate it.
I like how you hesitated. You really don't want to be wrong, huh?
No, I don't really have a problem. I think I came a long way just in this episode with my Blue Beetle take.
All right. I like that you recanted that one.
Yeah.
Gladiator 2.
Intrigued. Potential to be a good financial movie, but Ridley Scott seems like he can't make money in the movie theater. Also not a movie people are clamoring to see come back. So like I think the trailer is going to make a big difference for how that movie plays out. Because I think there's a high potential for it being great in the cinema.
Okay. And then we have Avatar 3 to close out the year.
Go fuck yourself. I'm not even going to talk about that movie. Fuck that movie.
Yeah, not interested.
Don't care. At all.
Yeah.
So is there anything, you had an other list pulled up. Is there anything that fills in the blanks for some of those, like because July through...
Yeah, I was going to say, we definitely skipped some. Like
we had all those sequels, too, that we listed off, and not a lot of it came up.
Yeah. I have Despicable Me 4 in July.
Well, it didn't need to be on the list, so that makes sense.
We have Wicked.
Yep. Keep moving. Keep it going.
Why do I have National Treasure 3?
Doubt that's happening.
Oh, in development. Doesn't even have a date. So moving on. What else don't I have? Oh, the Bob Marley movie.
Okay, that's early this year, right? February?
Yeah. Why didn't I get that? Yeah, February 14th. It's our Valentine's Day.
I'll give it to him. The trailer made me kind of want to see this.
Yeah.
I thought the trailer was pretty good. Bob Artie is a cool ass guy, but the trailer made him look fucking swaggy as hell.
Oh, dude.
Bro.
How didn't they give me the If movie?
Good point. That's early this year as well, right?
That is May. Not quite that early.
Ryan Reynolds had a couple movies. This is going to be a year of Ryan Reynolds.
Love it.
I think If will do pretty well. You know, we talk about as far as movies that cross both genres, both platforms. Is there May vacation though for school? No,
No.
it's February and April.
Yeah.
You would have thought that sounds like an April vacation movie to me
Yeah.
for premium like release to make money.
Yeah.
What else we got?
I have. This isn't coming out. Why is this on the list? Showing me Beyond the Spider-Verse again.
Depends when these lists were published, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess. Inside Out 2, Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
So Sonic, I'm interested. It's probably going to get a theater release but I could have also seen it go to Paramount Direct.
Really?
Yeah.
This is slated for the end of the year anyway, so December.
Could push back.
Yeah.
Depends if people don't like the way Sonic looks again or something.
Yeah.
Inside Out is going to do good money. That could be a Pixar getting back on track. Beetlejuice, okay. Like that didn't show up on the list at all.
No.
I'm sure that's going to do well. Mortal Kombat's just in development, right? But they are
Yep.
filming it currently, so maybe you start seeing stuff about it by the end of the year, but I doubt it's coming out this year.
The movie I expect to not see and still hate, Mufasa the Lion King.
Does that have a release date attached to it?
Let's see. I think so. Yeah, December.
So we still haven't seen, like, July and August seem, for summer movies, it seems like this year is going to lack.
Yeah. A lot of these are still in pre-production, so not worth mentioning. Rush Hour 4. Yeah, I didn't think I heard anything about that.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about Bad Boys last week. I don't see anything referencing an actual release date for that.
Interesting. This Mark Ruffalo, Robert Pattinson movie, Mickey 17.
Nope.
Is there a Detective Pikachu sequel in the works?
I mean, it makes sense, but like that also couldn't come together that soon. Reynolds is going to be way too busy promoting all year.
Oh, there's Bad Boys 4, but I don't think we have a release date yet, right? No.
So, it seems like we've tapped...
hold on.
Okay, what do you
Expected June.
But I don't believe it.
Yeah, I don't either. But it says it's in post-production right now.
The only way I'll believe it is if the Super Bowl has a trailer for it.
Okay.
Mark this down. Super Bowl has a trailer for it, you got me.
I mean, if I take what IMDb says at face value, it says it's in post-production, so it's done filming, so it very well could make a June release.
So I think the list is pretty tapped at this point. Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a super intensive year. Oh, okay. That's another one that we didn't mention. Beekeeper. I think that's going to be early. I mean, that's like the beginning of the year as well. So that's good.
Yeah. That's like in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. That's like, so that'll probably be the best action movie we get for a while to start the year.
Okay.
So that one, I mean, and Statham's pretty reliable. I mean, the movie looks pretty cookie cutter as far as plot is concerned and everything.
I mean, I like Stathaming.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep using people's names.
We also got Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, horror movie.
Does that have a release date?
Oh, Twisters.
Oh yeah, Twisters. That's coming too.
Do we have a
right here? Okay. Let me get the release date. July. So you got something in July.
So that Collider list, I don't know how you aren't including Twisters on your list.
Do they have a publishing date on this? No, they don't.
Because that's a perfect July movie.
Yeah.
Twisters plays in July. And I think it's got Glenn Powell and Daisy Ridley Scott. Am I correct?
Not seeing Daisy here.
Okay, who's the female lead?
Katie O'Brien.
Okay, I don't know her. Karen Shipka, is she in it?
Yep. Karen Shipka.
She's pretty great.
The name sounds familiar.
Sabrina.
What is she from? Ah, okay. Mara Tierney. Daisy Edgar Jones. I don't know.
That's why I said Ridley Scott. Like Daisy Edgar Jones is the girl.
Oh, I recognize her. What's she from?
Anything we can point out?
For you, where the crawdads sing, but I never saw
that's
that.
her. Okay. Yeah, okay, I like that movie.
Yeah,
it's good.
I love her. Her top one is War of the Worlds.
Where did Crawdad Sing come out last year?
22.
Yeah, okay. So
yeah.
well, 2 years ago now, I suppose.
Yeah, it's ancient now.
Yeah, fuck. Okay, so financially, I think we have Deadpool. We have Deadpool, Dune. I think Twisters is gonna do well, man.
I think so.
Avatar's obviously gonna do a ton of fucking money.
Unfortunately.
And I can't think of anything else that you really like got into that I think is gonna be like. I mean, this year was like 2023 was such a good year financially for the box office that I just don't know that we're gonna get that this year. It seems like we have some decent quality coming out, but what is it?
We getting a Kung Fury 2?
What? Okay.
No date on that though.
So those are the movies I would say are going to do the best money. As far as what I'm looking forward to, Twister is certainly piquing my interest, man. Twisters, you got Challengers, I think is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Kong vs. Godzilla is cool. Deadpool 3 is probably tops on the interest level for me to get to that. And that kind of is where and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I think is it actually might be my most. It's that and Deadpool are my most anticipated.
Yeah.
Worst early predictions for worst movie of the year. Madam Web.
Yeah.
There's going to be one of these movies that I see on a whim, quite similarly to like a 65, that I am like, just like, this was so fucking bad. But Madam Web seems like an easy beginning, like, to worst movie of the year.
Yeah, as far as a quick scroll, I think you got that.
Because the Joker I'm not going to like, but like I won't be as...
But it's going to be a successful movie.
Yeah, I won't be insulting to it and say that it's going to be the worst movie of the year. It won't be. Because he's like, Joaquin Phoenix is just going to perform way too well in it. Maybe Mean Girls is a sneaky worst movie there. I could also see Kong vs. Godzilla going the complete opposite, or Kong with Godzilla.
Yeah, Kong x Godzilla.
Yeah, like also going like the direction of, wow, that was fucking bad.
I mean, as much as I feel like Mean Girls should flop, it probably won't.
All right, so we got into a lot here. We've talked about a ton of movies. It's probably like, I think that preview is probably a little hard to follow. If I'm being honest. But yeah, if the people out there want to let us know, like, is there movies you're looking forward to this year? Is 2024 going to be a come down for the theater? Do you agree with us? There's nothing on paper that looks like it has the level of success. Granted, I don't think anybody knew that Barbie and Mario would make the money that they made. So what's the sneaky pick this year? I think is another interesting question to come out of this. What do you think is going to be the worst movie of the year? Let's move on though. Before we wrap things up, let's talk tests.
Ooh.
And we're not talking stids, we're talking taste. Let's get into the taste test, everybody. Yeah. So I will carry this segment.
Yeah. How your shoulders feeling?
Wait it. So I already referenced it. I watched Fast 10 yesterday. Still fine. Okay. Not I was trying to see if I wanted to rank it differently. Bailey. Still good. I don't have anything more to add to it on that. Like, I think we've already exasperated our thoughts on Fast 10. Momoa, still very solid in it. Dude, one thing I'll say is I think I probably had this take originally. John Cena's so good in that movie. Like, him just like acting with the kid.
Yeah.
The whole movie. And he's just like, he's a great uncle in that movie, dude. Very good. Some decent humor with the Ludacris and Tyrese parts in there. None of the action stands out like any of the other movies, with the exception of maybe like the Michelle Rodriguez, Charlize Theron fight scene is pretty solid. But nothing else really stood out.
That was when they were in like the Arctic, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Like, that's one of the better fight sequences in the movie.
The shitty thing, right, is like none of the car scenes were really anything spectacular.
Yeah, and I think that's where it does like something that doesn't stand out with the movie.
Yeah, which is like, that was the basis of this franchise. Like, how to fall off like that.
I did watch some rom-coms this week.
Ooh.
So I saw, have you ever seen The Age of Adeline?
I actually did watch that.
You have seen it? Okay,
yeah.
cool. First time I've ever watched it.
Okay.
I was impressed.
I like that movie a lot.
Harrison Ford is pretty great in it. I didn't even realize he was in it.
The lead actress, I forget her name.
Blake
she was
Lively.
Really good. Yeah.
We already said her name on here.
Thank you.
Yeah, Blake Lively is great. For those that don't know the premise, it's a girl who is born in the early 1900s and gets into a car accident where her car flips into the water on a cold night. And due to like going into like it doesn't make a ton of sense from like a logic standpoint.
Like, it's fine, right? Like you look at it as a fantasy movie, and they did a good enough job explaining it without trying to over explain.
They give you the science behind it. Like it's like a voiceover that gives you the science of like she's in the water and she's freezing to death and her blood like her heart stops beating, and then the electricity from a lightning strike causes her heart to restart, but it freezes her metabolism essentially in the spot that it's at, so she stops aging. And so she goes on being the same age, and now it's in like the 2020s, and she has not aged at all. She was on the run from the cops at one point. Like she's had to move every 10 years. She moves so that people don't realize that she's not aging. And then she hasn't been she's never told anybody her secret except for her daughter. And she refuses to meet new people or anything like that because she knows she'll just have to leave them. And it kind of sets up this rom-com film. And it's pretty good. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Not really a rom-com, more of a romantic drama.
Okay, I'll take it. Yeah, not a ton of comedy to it. You're right. For some reason, I just say every romantic movie's a rom-com.
I know, and we talked about this before because I've done it too. Like, I think it makes you feel less feminine to just say it's a comedy.
I don't know that I have that problem, only due to the fact that this is my genre that I watch the most of.
Yeah.
It's like action, horror, romantic movies. That is what I watch.
So, romantic movies. But when you say rom-com, it's like, all right, at least they're funny.
Yeah, they got some. I'm watching it for the humor. I'm in it for the jokes.
No, sometimes you're in it for the tears.
No, deadass. So truly rom-com. That Awkward Moment is another one that I watched this week. That's a movie I've seen a bunch of times, but I really, really like it.
I haven't seen that one. Who's in that?
It's going to be Zac Efron, Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, okay.
Very good cast. Right before Michael B. Jordan kind of took off, when Zac Efron was starting to take off as a more serious, not serious, but an
one
actual
of the few,
leading
child actors that broke out.
Yeah, and it's Miles Teller before he became the guy, and they're Michael B. Jordan and Miles Teller are just kind of your side actors, fellow actors in there. Speaking of Miles Teller, I also watched Two Night Stand is another movie I watched. Another rom-com that I watched. So both of those, I would recommend. You haven't seen either one of these, right, Dante? But it's a genre of movie you like.
Yeah,
100% watch them. That Awkward Moment is very good. Two Night Stand, actually, I'd only seen it once before. Pleasantly surprised. It's so girl is living with her friend, has no job at the moment, and is down on whatever, and they force her to leave the house for a night. So she goes on a dating app and sets up a one-night stand with a guy, wakes up in the morning and there's a snowstorm and she can't leave. And it leads to them being together for 2 days.
Huh.
To set that up for you. That Awkward Moment is legitimately funny, and all three leads, I think, are very good in it. I wish that it would finish a little stronger. And it's, again, another movie. We talked about this last week. Rom-coms need sequels. That's what I want to see. I want to see rom-coms getting sequels, man. One other...
That reminds me of a meme I saw where it was obviously a joke, but it was I think it was a clip from a podcast, and dude was talking about how he wants to start a business doing the after story of pornos. Did she get that promotion? Did she lose her job after letting him take the pizza for free? And I just thought that was a hilarious premise. That's what that reminded me.
I'm surprised there isn't more of an avenue for that.
Yeah, right?
I was going to get into a whole porn conversation. We don't have time for that. We just don't. We don't have time for it.
I'm sorry to spark that for you.
There will be a dry time, trust me, seeing the movies that are coming out in about February. We'll do the depressed porno episode for Halloween. Oh, and for, not Halloween, fucking Valentine's Day.
For Singles Awareness Day.
Yeah, that's actually a brilliant idea. Let us know if you want to see the porno episode for Valentine's Day. I have
Honestly
some
made
thoughts.
me cringe a little bit as you said it out loud, but yeah, we'll leave that on the possibilities.
I have thoughts, dude. And then I watched some weird movie last night called The River Why, which has
Not the River Wild.
no, totally different film. The River Why has the kid from Friday Night Lights, and it also has girl from Aquaman who pissed on or shit on Johnny Depp's bed.
We don't gotta say her name.
No. It was a weird movie. It's like one of those ones where it's like there's so little like rom-com movies that I have seen before that I haven't seen before rather, that when I see something that has like actors I recognize in it,
You just kind of jump into it.
Yeah, I kind of just throw it on, and it was on Tubi.
Okay.
So I just tossed it on. Tubi has a decent amount of movies on there right now that are pretty good, by the way.
Because they have a good selection of like those older movies.
Yeah, they like in general. I scrolled through Tubi and I was like, wow, there's a lot of shit on here to watch actually right now. If I wanted to just find something randomly, but yeah, it's about this kid. It's also a type of story I like. I've talked about it on here before. The Kings of Summer is a movie I really really like. That we actually did, I believe, a 3-2-1 for that movie. If anybody wants to go back and watch it. But this kid, he's, lives with his parents. He's graduating school and his parents fight all the time. He's miserable. He ends up moving out on his own into a cabin in the woods, and he's just like the fisherman, the fly fisher. And he meets this girl, and along the way, you just kind of follow with the story. So,
okay.
Pretty good. It was surprisingly good. Last thing I'll mention, episode 3 of Percy Jackson. The thing about the show, I would say, that is interesting is it's following pretty closely to what the movies did. You're just getting more depth to the story. And
Which
getting
got to be a good thing, right?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, like overall, I'm still very happy with the series. This episode was about Medusa. They meet Medusa, and you have to. Everybody knows about Medusa. It's like the kind of like you learn some more about her relationship to the gods and how she ends up the way she is, and you get to see her do her Medusa thing. So it's pretty cool. It was fun. And new episode drops tonight, so we'll talk about episode 4 next week. But 100%, if the movie is interesting because I think what happened was like the original comes out in 2013, and it's fresh off of.
I could just hear you getting distracted.
Not even that. It was like I said 2013, and I'm like, oh, I'm still doing that thing. I could have said 2013. But. You have Harry Potter ending, and there's this opening for the teen novel genre to like pick up where they're ending. Okay. And that's where the Hunger Games and Percy Jackson kind of come through, and they wanted Percy Jackson to kind of be that movie, and it just didn't do it the way that they wanted to. But there's a lot of similarities between Harry Potter and Percy Jackson that I'm surprised that it didn't take off. I think it was just too close in proximity. But now that we're so many years apart, it's working better. And I said it last week. I think that the characters are like the actors are all better in this for the roles that they're in. They're all good actors. In the first Percy Jackson movie, they had a lot of really, really great actors. I didn't even mention, who plays Medusa in the first Percy Jackson? Because I listed last week, like you had Logan Lerman, Alexander Daddario, Pierce Brosnan. Like I named off all these people. Yeah. Bill Burr. You know who I missed? Who plays Medusa in that movie?
Who?
Uma Thurman.
Oh shit!
So like they had cast very big names in the. You also had Nathan Fillion's in that movie too. Side note, but. This movie, I think, or this show, I think, just does a really, really good job of casting, and it's working very well so far. Steve had asked if you had to see the movies or the books to really be interested in the show. I think it's actually better to a point if you've not seen the movies, so you don't know what's coming. Because it's the whole first season is going to be about the lightning thief. Like if you've seen the movie, you would already know who the lightning thief is. Gotcha. So I think not knowing that, it would make this first season even better. I'm sure the books would add even more context that I'm not getting from the show, but I think the show is doing a very, very good job so far. So 100% recommend it to anybody who has not started watching it yet. Go out of your way, take a look at it. I think it's holding up. Anything else to touch on?
No, I got nothing.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you if you stuck around through the whole thing. Like we mentioned at the beginning, if you haven't not done so yet, drop a like on this video, share some thoughts on 2023 for us in the movie theater, give us some predictions for 2024 going forward. Is there anything that you're looking forward to more than others? Did we miss anything on 2023? You can find us anywhere audio podcasts are provided, also right here on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram at For Those With Good Taste, at Good Taste Live on Twitter or X videos. We do put them types out, baby. TikTok at FTWGT. Do me a favor out there. I don't ever talk about this, but like we talk about it every week, but I don't tell you to go check it out. If you could just go throw a like or a follow on the Letterboxd page. We have nothing going on there, but it's something we talk about every single week on here. So if you could do that, I'd greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. Dante, shout out yours.
Dirty Water ENT on YouTube, Dirty Water _ENT on Twitch and Instagram.
And just like that, new year, we start with straight shots.
And then pop bottles.
Bang, bang. Peace out. We love you.
For those with good taste.